As Russian forces approach Kyiv, the humanitarian situation in Ukraine is reportedly deteriorating rapidly.
The first wave of Ukrainian refugees settle into their new life in Italy and France.
Populated areas throughout Ukraine were bombarded with artillery and airstrikes as Russian forces continue their offensive and slowly make their way towards Kyiv, while the western city of Lviv has reported its first explosions since the war began. The city that borders Poland has been a haven for refugees trying to flee the country. And in a village 20 kilometers north of the capital, 7 civilians died when Russian forces shelled a humanitarian convoy, according to Ukraine's Ministry of Defense. And only around 13,000 people were evacuated throughout the country on Saturday. Ukraine's president said that the Russian occupiers cannot conquer us. They do not have strength. They have no such spirit. They are based only on violence, only on terror, only on weapons, of which they have many. New satellite images of the port city Mariupol has revealed large-scale damage to residential buildings and civilian infrastructure. In a small town in eastern Ukraine, residents are trying to come to terms with the coming under control of Russian-backed forces. As the breakaway Donetsk People's Republic now controls it, the town has been described as completely destroyed, as it saw some of the most intense fighting during the war, and both residential buildings and streets are badly damaged. The head of Russia's National Defense Control Center said the humanitarian situation in Ukraine is deteriorating rapidly, and in some cities it has reached catastrophic proportions. In a city near the port of Odessa, 2 healthcare facilities were damaged in bombardments. The cancer treatment hospital and eye clinic were struck only days after a maternity hospital was shelled in Mariupol, though no fatalities were reported. That is because one hospital stopped housing patients overnight, and the other temporarily moved them into a basement. Despite these heavy losses, Ukrainian civilians are still preparing for the resistance. In a small town 30 kilometers from Kharkiv, residents are taking courses on first aid and self-defense, while also preparing the city's defenses against Russian forces.
Every day, the famous old city of Krakow in Poland is host to demonstrations by groups of Ukrainian citizens forced out of their war-torn country. Relentlessly, they appeal to Western leaders to impose a no-fly zone over Ukraine. Among demonstrators, a group of children come from an orphanage bombed in the eastern city of Kharkiv. Alexandra came from Kiev a few days ago. Her husband stayed to fight.
Help us protect the lives of our children and women, and to protect the whole of Europe, because it's a war against humanity and against life worldwide.
If we don't make enough effort now, Poland and other countries are going to be next.
Children of Ukraine are being killed because of that imbecile, Putin. We can close the sky. NATO can close the sky. These people that are killed. There are so many people. There's a genocide in my country. There's no reason for that.
Behind backs of such children. And Turkish President Erdogan, he also is not afraid to send those pilotless planes to Ukraine. So how come democracies are afraid? All of the big mighty countries whose military budget is many times bigger, like dozens of times bigger than Russia and Belarus combined, and they are afraid to act. The only thing they are lacking is the willpower.
All here call for the citizens of Western countries to appeal to their leaders.
Please, all world, don't keep silence. Please help. We need your help. I say it's for all world. I say it's for Biden, for Macron, for Johnson, Scholz, and another world people. I want to say to you, all for you, if you not stop Putin, the blood of Ukrainian people will be in your hand. Not to close the sky. Not to close the sky.
Varigoria from Krakow for Euronews.
The sky. Now to close the sky. Now to close the sky.
More than 2.5 million Ukrainians have now fled, and Romania is just one of Ukraine's EU neighbours that's welcoming them in. Our correspondent, Georgia Orlandi, who's at the Siret border crossing, says that about an average of 6,000 citizens cross the border into Romania at Siret day and night. According to official sources, the Romanian authorities estimate that around 380,000 Ukrainians have already crossed this border since the beginning of this crisis. It's considered the longest border crossing between Ukraine and the rest of Europe. As you can see, there are many families, people here who are arriving, and there is help, tents on both sides of the road. Here they can find all kinds of assistance and help.
We help with food, sweets, toys. We have hygiene products, baby pampers.
We are here to take the people from the border, to give them a place to sleep. In the limit we can to do it, and we get the car to transport to the west border and to the Europe.
We know that the French Interior Minister was here on Friday and met his Romanian counterpart and praised the solidarity shown by Romanians when it comes to welcoming these refugees, and also the Vice President from US, Kamala Harris, when she was in Bucharest on Friday. She thanked Romania for their efforts in welcoming the Ukrainian citizens fleeing the country.
Georgia Orlandi a Siret, al confine tra Romania e Ucraina per Euronews.
More than 2,000 kilometres away from the sounds of air raid warnings that very quickly became their reality. These children look out at their new surroundings and learn the local language. This Ukrainian monastery near Rome has become a shelter for 21 Ukrainian women and their children who fled the country.
Ми вже маємо такий досвід, коли були діти, так і
We had situations where children were not ready to go to school. They had trouble adapting themselves to a peaceful situation. They need to find some calm to adjust to new circumstances.
Тим дітям зараз треба трошки заспокоїтися, звикнутися з тими обставинами, які є.
This is Victoria. Her family boarded a crowded train in Warsaw and then took a bus to Italy. We want to go to Poland and Italy to see the culture as tourists, but we want to come home and live in our own country.
Ми хочемо додому. Ми хочемо жити в своїй країні.
In Tourcoing, northern France, this family has taken in Ukrainian refugee Karina. France has so far welcomed more than 7,000 refugees, and it's preparing for tens of thousands more. I feel secure, but my family is still there. So are lots of my friends and close ones. You cannot feel safe. You're worried about them all the time, all your loved ones who remain there when we managed to leave. Local Ukrainian groups have been gathering supplies. I believe that it is important to give your life for others because we are lucky enough to be in a country with freedom and with a lot of help provided. People who don't have the means are still given a lot of help in France. And I believe we must help all these people, doing their best to help restore some normality for those forced to flee.
The Premier League has ordered Russian billionaire Romana Bravovich to sell Chelsea Football Club. It comes after he was sanctioned by the British government over Russia's war in Ukraine and his close links to President Vladimir Putin. After failing to get his British visa renewed, Abramovich moved to Israel in 2018, where he gained citizenship. Italy has impounded a €530 million yacht which is linked to Andrei Melnichenko. He's one of the Russian oligarchs that have been sanctioned by the EU. The SYA is docked at the port of Trieste. Italy's financial crimes police say it's indirectly attributable, through a company based in Bermuda, to Melnichenko.